The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles should be one of the greatest comic book franchises of all time. They have everything: a unique premise, an iconic team dynamic, a balance of action and humor, and a world rich with martial arts, sci-fi, and mutant chaos. They should be leading the industry in reinvention, innovation, and compelling storytelling. But they're not. Instead, TMNT is trapped in a never-ending nostalgia loop, playing the same story over and over, afraid to evolve. And in a world where Batman, Spider-Man, and even the X-Men have constantly redefined themselves, the Turtles are stuck doing the same thing they've been doing since 1987. So, the question is, why? Why has this franchise refused to grow? Why does every reboot feel like a remix of the last? And if TMNT doesn't evolve, how much longer can it last? The TMNT formula is running on empty. Here's the reality: TMNT has a core formula that it repeats every single time. 1. 4 brothers, each with distinct personalities. 2. They live in the sewers with Splinter, their father figure sensei. 3. They train in ninjutsu, eat pizza, and make jokes. 4. They fight the Foot Clan, mutants, and Shredder. 5. The status quo resets, and the cycle begins again. That formula has barely changed in nearly 40 years. And while some might argue, if it's not broken, don't fix it, that argument ignores the reality that great franchises evolve. Look at Batman. Batman started as a simple detective, then evolved into a psychological, noir-inspired character. Over time, he's been a ninja, a billionaire strategist, a dystopian warrior, and even a cosmic-level hero. The franchise adapts to fit the times. Spider-Man has also changed dramatically since the 1960s. Peter Parker went from a high school kid to a married man, to a CEO, to a mentor. His villains, allies, and challenges evolved with him. Even the alternate versions, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, are reinventions that keep the brand fresh. The X-Men. They were mutant superheroes fighting discrimination. Now, they are a political force, a mutant nation with its own power struggles, and Marvel's most socially charged franchise. Meanwhile, TMNT. Same 4 brothers, same sewers, same villains, same pizza jokes. Shredder is a crutch that's holding TMNT back. You can't talk about TMNT's biggest problem without talking about Shredder. Yes, he's an iconic villain. Yes, he's the most recognizable TMNT antagonist. But TMNT's obsession with Shredder has completely stunted the franchise's growth. Let's look at Batman again. Batman has the Joker, but he also has Bane, Scarecrow, Ra's al Ghul, the Court of Owls, and Mr. Freeze. These villains bring different challenges to Batman: mental, physical, emotional. The X-Men don't just fight Magneto. They have Apocalypse, the Sentinels, the Brood, and even internal betrayals that make their conflicts unique. The Turtles. They fight Shredder. If it's not Shredder, it's some version of him. The Foot Clan. The Krong. Some new villain who takes over the Foot Clan. Mutant lackeys working for the Foot Clan. Every single reboot circles back to Shredder. But what if TMNT did something different? What if the Turtles had to face a corrupt government hunting mutants? What if they had to deal with a supernatural threat tied to their own existence? What if one of them turned against the others, creating an internal war? The few times TMNT has broken free from this Shredder obsession, it has resulted in some of the best stories in the franchise. The IDW Comics expanded the lore, adding reincarnation, politics, and new enemies like Agent Bishop, turning TMNT into a full-fledged universe. The Last Ronin gave us a dystopian, tragic future where only one turtle survives, completely shattering the TMNT formula. Even Rise of the TMNT, despite fan backlash, at least attempted to shake things up. But the mainstream versions, they always crawl back to Shredder, like a safety net they're too afraid to let go of. The Turtles themselves are stuck in a loop. Here's something people don't talk about enough: the Turtles themselves are just as stagnant as the storylines. Leonardo, the leader. Raphael, the hothead. Donatello, the tech guy. Michelangelo, the comic relief. Now ask yourself, when has that ever changed? It hasn't. Sure, some adaptations pretend to explore deeper character arcs, but the Turtles always snap back to their assigned roles. Leonardo never truly struggles with leadership in a meaningful way. Raphael never actually breaks free from his anger issues and forges a new path. Donatello never faces the consequences of his tech obsession in a lasting way. Michelangelo never evolves past comic relief into something more. Meanwhile, other team-based franchises allow real change. The X-Men's Cyclops went from idealistic leader to hardened revolutionary. Nightwing grew out of being Robin and became his own hero. Wolverine transformed from a reckless killer to a reluctant father figure. TMNT. They just stay teenagers. Always teenagers. Always in the sewers. Never moving forward. How TMNT can evolve before it's too late. Right now, TMNT is at a crossroads. The franchise can keep recycling the same formula and risk fading into irrelevance, or it can finally embrace change. Here's how TMNT can actually evolve. Let the Turtles grow up. Stop resetting them as teenagers. Let them experience adulthood, leadership struggles, and real-world consequences. Expand beyond New York. What happens if they're thrown into a bigger conspiracy? A post-apocalyptic world? A mystical war? Introduce new villains. No more Shredder reboots. Give TMNT a real threat, one that forces them to question their identity, their loyalty, and their future. Commit to long-term storytelling. No more resetting every few years. Let the story build over time the way IDW has done in the comics. Because here's the truth, if TMNT doesn't evolve, it will die. And that's not hyperbole. Fans may love the franchise now, but nostalgia has a shelf life. At some point, people will move on. The question is, will TMNT move forward before it's too late? Or will it be just another relic of the past, buried under its own unwillingness to change? Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think TMNT is stuck in a loop, or do you believe the franchise is fine the way it is? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's have a real discussion about this. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more bold, no-holds-barred takes on comics, hit that like button, subscribe to African Reads Comics, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.